This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
A year ago, it may have raised eyebrows if you suggested Milan Arnozzi could win the GTO championship. Today, Riley Thompson has to work pretty hard to deny Milan that very chance. And though their speed has been comparable, in this race, it won't be as much about speed as it will be traffic management. The short, fast, and windy Canadian Tire Motorsports Park has hosted these drivers before, and they all know the incredible challenge facing them in this multi-class minefield. Today, we crown a victor as we get ready to watch the final round of the iRacing Kamel GT Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing Channel and the iRacing Esports Network. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Nick Schmeg. Behind the scenes is our director, the Dr. Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Nick, Mosport will not do any favors to anyone not keeping their head on a swivel today.
You're absolutely right about that, Joe. Your head's going to have to be on a constant swivel for this entire race here, because Mosport, I like to think of it as the super speedway version of a short road course such as Lime Rock or Tsukuba. It's a track that doesn't at first appear all too difficult, but once you're in the cockpit of one of these Kamel GT race cars today, you're going to immediately change your mind about that. Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, or Mosport for short, is comprised of only 10 turns. However, each of those 10 turns have their own little deceptive quirks about them, whether they're situated on a blind hill where it's easy to catch traffic at a bad spot, or just simply lose control of your car getting back on the gas. Or another turn, like Moss Corner, the tight double apex that winds you up for the Mario Andretti straightaway, easily making or breaking your entire lap. Ever since its boom in popularity in the 60s, Mosport has enjoyed visits from many series in the past and present, such as F1, NASCAR, and IMSA. To see just how daunting of a track that Mosport really is, and what other challenges await the drivers, let's send you down to the track, to the GSRC Lap Guide.
Alright, we're in the GSRC Audi, so let's do a lap around Mosport. Coming into turn 1, it's a medium speed downhill right, but the wall can make it tough to judge just how early you should get back on the power. Make sure and switch sides quickly because you really don't want to be offline going into Clayton. It's got an incredibly blind entry, a huge drop in elevation, and 2 apexes to hit. It's easy to see why this is considered one of the most difficult corners in racing. As you power off of there, you're immediately slamming the brakes for Quebec. The way it opens up on the exit makes it seem like an early apex is the way to go, but it's still more ideal to not turn in too early. That leads us to turn 4, which in the Audi needs a big lift just as you start to plunge down the hill. Hug the left side of the track and then use the compression at the bottom to help slow the car quicker. Moss is all about letting the car swing out, lining up your exit for the second apex, and being confident on the power. The Andretti Straight is the longest acceleration zone of the whole track, so any driver that waits too long to find the gas will be regretting it all the way up the hill. You might get a hit of the draft if you're close to the car ahead, but it's going to be tricky to outbrake them into the S's. 8 is a surprisingly fast corner, plus drivers have been known to defend or attack from the outside successfully. That's because it switches back into 9, and all the while the bends are getting progressively tighter. White's corner is the slowest, and it's got a nasty tall curve to the inside that I'd advise not getting too friendly with. But hopefully, you've kept it all together and have now finished a lap around Mosport.
Lap up and down the hills of Mosport. Well, we're going to have a lot of those with how quickly the Nissans get around here. Let's take a look at the points standings, though, starting with the GTPs. The attention isn't really up at the top because Auto Yamaki had already claimed the championship as early as the last round. Really, what you want to watch out for, I'd say, is between Albrecht and Keith, and just checking to see if both of them are here. And Keith is here, and I do not see Justin, though, unfortunately, so that's going to spoil that fun. a little bit. 1 point separating those two. Could have given us a good fight. Sad to see that Justin was not able to make it today. John actually just jumped up 1 spot ahead of Timu Toika, so you could see them change as well as second and third. Looking at the GTP light standings, Krejcik has also settled that, but it is a tie for second place between Robanek and Fonseca. Those two currently only have the likes of, let's see, Carlos is not here, and I think actually neither of them are here. So that's going to remain a tie, I think, in the end, actually. We'll have to get that settled out post-race and see who has won that based on finishing results prior. Johnny Bell is a little bit too far behind them to overtake them, though he is able to be caught by Sakura. It'll be a little unlikely unless they have a very good finish up towards the top. Let's take a look at the GTO standings, because that one is a nice fight for the top.
Yeah, it is a nice fight for the top indeed. Milan Arnozzi, he has the lead right now, but Riley Thompson, he's winless this season, but he has more podiums than any other Audi driver, and he is only 6 points back. Both of those drivers are here today and in full force because Milan Arnozzi at least setting a good time so far in qualifying. Behind them, Dennis Neidhart is holding down the fort in third place, followed by Nicholas Makanos and Phil Lake, rounding out the top 5. Pretty good bubbles in between those 3 spots. We also have the GTU standings as well in the Audis. Let's take a look at those. Adam Lindgren leads Hideki Koivisto, but only by 1 point after they swapped last week at Barber. Reed Miller, only a handful of points above Matthew Jetse, who's only 2 points above Sergey Serbin, so lots of positions to be battled out in all of the GTU standings there.
And the good news for viewers is both Hideki and Lindgren are here today, so we'll keep an eye on them and where they finish. It's basically whoever finishes in front of the other, more or less. Now, speaking of the race itself, let's go through what we've got in store. 40-minute race, so this is their sprint format. You should not expect any scheduled pit stops for the cars. They should be able to make it to the end on fuel. And there's the scoring there. So 25 for a win, all the way down to 1 point for 20th. But we've got no more than, I believe, 11 cars per class. I think we've got 12 in the GTOs and 10 in the GTPs. So bit of a small field with Sebring going on. We are glad you joined us today, if that's the case, here on the iRacing Esports Network. And if you've been enjoying the Kamel series all season long, we highly encourage you to subscribe to IESN, because not only will you catch the Kamel series, we've got Lotus 49, as we showed earlier today. All the World Championship series are shown here on IESN. So there's lots in store for you, but you've got to subscribe and make sure that it shows up in your feed so that you can catch it live as it happens. Well, here in the virtual world, transporting your car to locales literally all over the globe is as easy as clicking your mouse. But in the real world, it's a lot more involved for those who haul vehicles from state to state. The last thing you want to worry about is having to fill out all kinds of messy paperwork for the car inspections and then keep them in order on the road as well. There's great news if you're looking to do away with those stacks of papers. Inspect a Ride is the fastest way to conduct a vehicle inspection and create reports. You can save time, eliminate paper, keep better inspection records, and simplify your life, all from your iPhone, iPad, or Android phone or tablet. You can find out more at inspectorride.com/iRacing, where you can even find a free trial to find out if Inspector Ride is right for you. So check it out. Once again, to download that, you have to go to inspectorride.com/iRacing. Got just about 2 minutes left in the qualifying. Most drivers have got theirs in with how short the laps are around here. I see Ken Kurtz is still going. Mark Usher is yet to get a single lap in. Those are pretty much the only 2 Nissans out on track. It's Iamaki leading in the GTPs and Olenek up at the top of the GTOs. Nick?
Yeah, and that battle for the top of the GTOs, very, very close. Like you said, Rob Olenek has the pole right now in the GTOs, but only by 7/1000ths of a second over Yoni Hagner. So if that gives you any indication as to how the speeds compare throughout those drivers, it's sure to be a good one.
Now, we've talked about how difficult it is dealing with traffic around here, and that seems obvious. It's got fast corners and it's not a very long lap time. But I think the one thing maybe viewers who haven't raced on iRacing, especially multi-class, realize is the effect of the racing line it has. And that, to me, plays a big part here, Nick, at Mosport.
Oh, I definitely agree. These turns are all about momentum, you think, because there are only 10 turns at this track, and most of the track itself is a turn. A lot of these turns are really wide, sweeping turns. So, you know, if you get off the wrong racing line, it's really hard to recover. It messes you up for the entire series of turns, not just the one that you're on.
Usher crosses the line, and that second lap is his fastest, good enough for 6th. Ken Kurtz has already put both of his in. He sits at his fastest time of a 1:08 flat. That is the last car that has managed to put time in the GTPs. Bob Loran looks like he is going to be starting from the back of that field. So our qualifying is over on our somewhat small field for this final round of the season. That brings us to the starting grid. And then, of course, as we mentioned, Ardo Iamaki is your champion, and he's going to start another one on the pole. Let's see if he can make it to the finish from there. It's going to be a lot harder than you'd think. How about Radar Anderson, though? Starting from 2nd. Usually he does not have this sort of pace, but I guess he's found it here today. And then you've got Fabian Jungbluth starting in 3rd. Luis Emerton has challenged for wins from time to time and has gotten plenty of podiums in the past. Let's see if he'll return to that form starting from 4th, just off the podium. Martin Krejcik, a good qualifying from him within the top 5. He'll be followed by the likes of Mark Usher showing up. Mark is known for being incredibly fast in Formula One cars. Let's see how he is in this prototype. John Keefe showed up today, so I believe he will come out on top in that battle for 3rd in the GTP Championship. He'll start 7th. Ryan Lang will be P8. And then you've got Ken Kurtz in 9th. You don't see him on here, but he will be starting right behind Ken. Bob Loran starting 10th.
12 of the 22 drivers today are going to be in the Audi class. That's being led by Rob Olenek, like we said earlier, 7 1,000ths of a second over Yoni Hagner for the New Englander of Rob Olenek to get that pole position here at Mosport. They're going to be followed in row 2 by Nicholas Mukanos and Milan Arnozzi, your points leader right now, but only slightly over Riley Thompson, who's 2 spots back in 6th. They're split up right now by Reed Miller, starting in 15th. Row number 4 for that group is going to be Dennis Neidhart and Adam Lindgren, 17th and 18th. 19th and 20th going to be Sergey Serbin and Hideki Koivisto. He's also fighting for some points today. Don Peake and Michael Haynes going to round out the field.
That is your starting grid here for the final round of the season in 2019 Season 1 of the iRacing Kamel GT Series. Now, let's kind of give you a picture of what's going to happen out in the championship battle for the GTOs. 6 points between Arnozzi and Thompson means that if Thompson wins, Arnozzi has to finish lower than 3rd, so 4th or lower for Thompson to take the championship. Essentially, I guess a simpler way of putting it, Nick, is all Arnozzi has to do is finish on the podium, and he's the champion.
Yeah, either finish on the podium or finish ahead of Thompson for the most part is what he's going to have to do. And right now he's starting exactly, I mean, he's right in front of Thompson, starting 14th. Thompson starting 16th on the outside there. So I don't expect to see Thompson hold back here to start. I think he's going to go after that position.
Undoubtedly. Milan Arnozzi, not the best qualifying for him, sitting a little bit farther down than what we've seen previously, but he's also shown that he's got really good racecraft and race pace, and that's kind of the name of the game in this series, racecraft especially. As we watch that GTO class work their way down Clayton, thankfully with it being a short lap time regularly, it also means something of a short lap time behind the roof pace car. And this will be the last time it'll be behind the roof pace car, at least for now. Here on iRacing, they're going to put the Porsche in its place. Not that I think many people will notice any difference at first glance, but going to take that deal that they've got with Porsche and put it to good use, make sure that they give them prime spot in every race here on iRacing. Working their way through Moss, Hairpin, and up the Andretti straight. Now, in these Audis, the Nissans we've always seen don't really give off too much of a draft. But what about these Audis up the Andretti straight? Nick, do you think it'll be enough to allow a slingshot, or is it not that powerful?
I think it might be enough to allow a slingshot. The problem is pulling off the slingshot, because after the Andretti straightaway, it's not just like you have one turn going to the left or right. You have the S's, turns 8, 9, and 10 to put you back on the front straightaway, and it's so hard to go too wide through there and hold a line and be fast at the same time. So we might see some guys try it, but it's going to be pretty gutsy.
If you just watched the batteries not included race in the Williams, apparently Usher actually even won that race. So Mark could go back-to-back here, depending on how he performs today. We'll watch out for that. He'll have to manage to overtake Iamaki in that process, who has been dominant this season. Pace car is now ducking into the pit lane. Green flag is immediately out, and Artu Iamaki squeezes the throttle, making sure not to spin his wheels. A little bit too cautious for the likes of Anderson. He's already being overtaken by Fabian Jungbluth. A bit of side-by-side racing between Keith. Oh, and Keith actually goes off track, but he manages to save it. Let's go to the GTOs.
It's been side-by-side ever since the S's for Rob Olenek and Joni Hagner, and Olenek is just about to get around him. He does there in turn 1. They are going to be followed by Makanos. Arnozzi also with a good start, but Thompson, he's up to 5th.
Thompson right behind Arnozzi at this point, and he's closing on him already as the side-by-side action behind them. You can see between Neidhart and Miller. Neidhart's going to come out on top, but Ken Kurt's already off the track in Quebec. We'll get back to the replay on that later. Go ahead.
We see Thompson chasing down Arnozzi here, and Joe, we always say it's best when you're racing against other people in your class. Pass them, when you're all clumped together, because later in the race, you're going to have to deal with these Nissans passing you on the left and right, and it's going to be just a headache for him.
He's staying with him, but he's not close enough to attack right now. As you see our pack of Audis scream down the backstretch, but we got a challenge for the lead because Hagner is looking around the outside of Rob Olenek, but that doesn't quite work, and it lets his teammate in, Mukanos. How about that?
I think Hagner gave Olenek just a little bit of a bump there and had to get on the brakes just a tad. That was enough for Mukanos just to slingshot right around there, but I think Hagner's took a peek there to the inside.
And as that was happening, Thompson managed to get by Arnozzi. Now, that does not guarantee him the championship. With only one place between them, I'm pretty certain that is not enough points to give it to Thompson. All Milan has to do is ride behind him at this point. He's not lost out too much since the overtake, but already in the first 2 minutes, the first lap, his rival is taking it to him.
He is indeed, and like you said, Thompson, he's going to need more points than that, so he's going to be looking ahead here to chase down Hagner, Mukanos, and Olenek, who are your top 3 right now as they go through Moss. But like you said, I think Arnozzi fairly content right there, sitting in 5th in the Audis right now, but looks like he is going to get a big slingshot on him here, get a lot of tow down the straightaway.
Tries to fight back, but he backs out of it. As Thompson will stay ahead in P4 in this class. They're starting to lose touch of the drivers ahead, who are still battling because Mukanos has now been overtaken by Hagner, who slips back into 2nd place between these 2 yellow and white cars.
Yeah, that lap before, Hagner was putting a lot of pressure on Olenek, and you saw that the pass by Mukanos he had on Hagner, so I'm not surprised to see Joni Hagner take that position back and look to chase down Olenek again.
Now, I understand Usher was involved in what happened with Kurtz here, potentially, and double checking, see if this is the case. We got the replay. Oh. And it looks like Usher, the one who finds the wall in that dark blue car.
Yeah, it looks like Usher just got tapped there.
Kurt's a little ambitious into the corner, got his nose in, and he was given space, but they couldn't hold it away from one another. Usher is back in 9th, but Kurtz is actually working his way through the GTO field right now. He lost a lot more time. Thankfully, I don't think he's causing too much of a headache for them. Speaking of the GTP class, Arto Iamaki continuing his tradition this season. He's now 3 seconds ahead of Fabian Jungbluth, who is in second place and is streaking away. There's really not too many battles in the GTPs at the moment. Anderson is currently in third after losing out on that front row starting spot. He's been holding on to Jungbluth, but not challenging.
Yeah, that didn't take Iamaki long, did it, to get up there and already put over a 3-second gap on the rest of the field. But that's Arto for you. We've seen him do it all year. He's looking for a 7th win today of the season.
Impressive stuff. Makes sense why he's champion, and that is Ken Kurtz off track once again. Now, how did he get there? Let's take a look at the replay and figure this one out. Looks like it started coming out of white.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then he tried to get it turned around and found himself off the track again. Oof, almost running into the likes of Michael Haynes in the process. Bad start for Ken Kurtz, but he's going once again. We saw Arto Iamaki already put a lap on him. And indeed, Iamaki is coming to the back of the GTO field. He overtakes Don Peak. Next on his list is going to be a trio of cars in a battle: Serban, Koivisto, and Lindgren.
And Joni Hagner, that last lap, he put a lot of pressure on Olenek. Nearly got around him through the S's, just didn't quite have the speed. Actually, Olenek swings it wide. He's going to be sideways right now, and Olenek is actually spinning off the track.
Oh! Olenek, with a potential win on his hands, finds himself in the tires on the outside of Clayton.
Clayton Corner is such a hard turn in these cars, especially these older cars. It's just so easy. Like you said there, like you saw there by Olenek, just to get a little off sequence and a little off rhythm and lose the entire car.
Watch from on board the New Englander. Yeah, he was just that slightest bit wide, yeah. And then good night. If we come back live, let's go to Riley Thompson, because he's side by side with Arnotzi, and they've got Arto Iamaki, our leader in the GTPs, trying to work his way through. He gets a little lucky, goes around the outside with the downforce of that Nissan through turn 8, and somehow Thompson holds on to what is now third thanks to the problems of Rob Olenek.
And Rob Olenek leaving the track there, and that's going to be putting Joni Hagner into the lead. And Makanos, he is sticking right with him as Iamaki's going to be working around the Audi leaders now.
Oh, but it is an absolute traffic jam in the midst of the GTPs around Riley. Yeah, look at all the cars trying to get through. Somehow no passes took place. Oh, I take that back. A pass did take place. Jungbluth was overtaken by Anderson for second place in that, but the rest of the cars remain in line. Looks like John Keefe going to try and change that as he took a peek on Krejcik down into Moss, but that doesn't go off.
And it shows you how quickly these Nissans will close up on each other, because just a couple laps ago we were saying how they were all separated by a couple of seconds. Well, look at them now.
Are we going to go 3 wide? Yes, indeed we are. Is that John Keefe in the middle? He manages to get himself into third. Overtakes both Jungbluth and Krejcik, but now he comes up on the GTO leaders. Slicing his way through. Hagner boxes him in momentarily, but he did get by Mukanos easily. Oh no, there goes our leader in the GTOs, Hagner in the wall. Mukanos inherits the lead.
I think John Keefe gave him a little bit of a tap there.
It has been a messy start to this race here in Mosport once the multi-class traffic has found each other. Patience has certainly paid off for Mukanos. This is Hagner, who was our leader. Yeah, that looked like some contact to me. And a very, very fast corner entry.
And I was just about to say how these Nissans coming through, they really badly hurt Nicholas Mukanos, because he was just separated so badly from Hagner. But, well, it turns out it worked in his favor, being patient, like you said, and that's going to give Mukanos the Audi lead.
As we come back live, this is Jungbluth being overtaken by Chequered for 4th place. Let's stay on this battle, but I can report that means Riley Thompson moves up into 2nd now, and Arnotzi is still in 4th. One more spot for Thompson, and he can take the championship. He's got a ways to go to do it, though. It's 6 seconds up to the leader.
And we're only 10 minutes into this race, and the Nissans have gone by the Audis once. They're going to be going by them a couple more times.
The question is how many of them will be going by with the way this race has gone so far. Joni Hagner has too much damage from that contact with the tires and has to come in to get some repairs. Hopefully he'll be able to come back out. Sad to see the fast Finn not be able to take advantage of his pace today. We come back to 3rd place in the GTOs. It's Neidhart you see just behind Thompson up in 2nd place. Oh, well, let's go over the GTPs once again because Luis Emerton is challenging on the inside of Chequered. He was behind Jungbluth just before this. 2 spots in 1 corner.
Man, you saw those Nissans get so sideways coming out of there, too. They're pushing the last turn of the S's there really hard. But, yeah, Luis Emerton with a great set of turns there. Great exit off of Moss and just captured him on the straightaway.
Jungbluth moving a little bit backwards here. He started in 3rd. He's now in 6th. He's let a few cars by, but he could still take places back if other cars fall by the wayside. See them using every inch of it. I think actually even getting a little bit into the dirt did Jungbluth. Certainly kicked up a little bit of dust coming through Quebec.
And Jungbluth was up to 2nd to start this race. He had passed Anderson right at the start, so ever since they've caught these Nissans, that number 9 Nissan of Jungbluth just ill-handling. Going in the wrong direction.
Oh, Milan Arnotzi. Oh, and he makes contact with Dennis Neidhart, who goes off into the grass. Dennis tries to get it slowed up, and his teammate finds himself hitting the tires. A little bit of a rude move on his cohort, but understandable.
Yeah.
As Milan's fighting for a championship. And that will certainly help him in the championship because now that puts him in championship winning position in 3rd place. And oh, he had more contact. When this was with, no, it was Neidhart had made contact with Olenek just now in Moss Corner. So here's Neidhart recollecting himself. Olenek, who I think this is for position, isn't it? Yes, it is.
Yeah, just got into the side of him there. Olenek did.
Tried a brave move, and don't think it worked out like he hoped. Thankfully, it didn't turn Neidhart, but it certainly cost Olenek some time. So he's got to catch him once again. Whew, let's catch our breath. It's been a wild first 13 minutes. Iamaki is still your leader up in the prototypes. He's being chased by Anderson, who finds himself back into 2nd where he started on the grid, but not without having to make some moves to do it. And then John Keefe, how about this guy, starting from 7th up to the podium. He's got his legs under him in the number 12 car today. He's looking pretty solid to round out that podium in the GTPs. Mukanos is leading by a big gap down in the GTOs. He's got 8 seconds back to Riley Thompson, has basically run his own race. Thompson is in the race of his life. He's gotten up to 2nd, but his rival in the championship, Arnotzi, is the one right behind him and is currently going to be our champion if they finish as they are.
How about right behind Arnotzi, Reed Miller, the Canadian, showing up here at Mosport in 4th place. So after starting in 5th in that class, great performance by him today. Looking for his first podium of the season.
Nicely done by the number 15. Now, don't forget the GTU championship. That's the amateur championship in the Audis. Right now, that's going to go to Koivisto as it sits because he's in 5th, and Lindgren has fallen all the way to 9th. That's going to be extra disappointment for the TDR team if both of their drivers just miss out on the championship in the final round.
Yeah, Koivisto is another one with a great run. He started 10th in the GTOs, and he's up to 5th.
Oh, it looks like Martin Krejcik has found the wall. Gave a little bit of a scare to Don Peak, it looks like.
Yeah, he came in on the inside and not quite enough room for Krejcik there, so Krejcik went up on the curbs and did not work for him, right into the tire barrier.
He immediately takes it into the pits. After that, we're going to watch it one more time from above. Peak trying to stay out of the way, and then hello, goodbye. As we come back live, closest battle right now is that P2 for the GTOs. Thompson still being chased by Arnotzi. And don't forget that Reed Miller, as was mentioned before, is right with them. He lets the likes of Iamaki, our GTP leader, stream through. Perfect timing as he gets inside them just before Clayton. All three of them continue on their fight.
Man, and that really bunched up Arnotzi right up to the back of Thompson there just for a moment as they allow the next Nissan there of Radar Anderson to go through.
He gets by before they hit Moss Corner. Nobody really having a chance to make an attack down into the hairpin. Now it gets a little trickier. They've got Keefe and Emerton, who are in a battle for the podium, looking to try and get by. Just as Arnotzi has a slipstream, we could see a 3 wide here depending on how the stars align. Arnotzi looks to the outside. Keefe doesn't have his teammate right behind him, so he's going to wait patiently. No, he's going to stick his nose in, and his teammate is going to try to make it 3 wide down through turn 8, looking to try and get around either side of Riley Thompson. Somehow they get through there, and somehow Emerton comes out on top.
Wow. What a maneuver for those teammates getting through there.
Unreal. The courage of this UK&I driver and the trust in all the drivers around him. To the inside. Sees it. To the inside again. In between them. To the outside. Slips to the inside. And he's through all of them in a matter of seconds.
Unbelievable.
I would not try that myself. Oh my goodness. Well, that gives Emerton third. We may have had a problem out on track. Nope, looks like we're still good. Incredibly, in all of this, we only have one driver who's still sitting in the pits. Joni Hagner's damage apparently seems to be enough that he might not be able to rejoin. I think he could be a DNF for today. We still got 21 cars out and running with nearly half the race left to go. And here we go again for P2 and the GTOs. Thompson doing everything he can to hold the advantage over Arnotzi, but it switches back with Arnotzi to the inside. It's a right-hander through Whites, so Arnotzi finally has to give it up.
And Miller got a great run off of White there in turn 10 as they go down into turn 1 now. Miller is a lot closer to Arnotzi than Arnotzi is to Thompson.
Oh, and Emerton's hard work has gone for naught. He hits the wall out of Quebec, and it is all his own doing.
Yeah, it's just another one of those instances where you see the car just get a little bit unsettled, and it's so hard to catch it after that happens. Backs it into the tire barrier.
Now he's got it back going once again, but he's down in 5th. Keefe gets promoted back up to the podium. Such fast corners. I'm surprised he didn't get more damage out of that. You can see the rear wing all out of sorts as he waits patiently behind the likes of Nick Mukanos, who is still our leader in the GTOs. Now here's something that's interesting I've just noticed. Iamaki, who we know has good pace, is only 3 seconds ahead of Anderson. When did Anderson close down recently?
He may have, and he also may have gotten through the traffic just a little faster than Iamaki. That could also play a factor in that.
Well, that'll be a good fight if we see Radar actually get to the back of him and make it a battle for the lead in the GTPs. I can report that Usher has recently overtaken Ryan Lang and got himself back up to 6th. He's got the speed, but he's got a little bit of learning to do over here in the Nissans compared to his incredible ability in the Williams. He slips by the likes of Hideki Koivisto. Is it just me? Is it getting a little bit dark out here now? It's 6, almost 7 p.m. In the evening here in Canada, as Bob Loran, local, is going to find himself in the pits now. Now, is this recent damage? It might be. Checking. Oh, and something's going on with Emerton. Oh, no. On the front stretch, into the wall. Right on board. See what it looks like from his perspective.
We've seen a couple of Nissans now have problems there, and we thought that was kind of a unique place for them to have trouble, but something about that turn, getting back on the gas there, does not get along with the Nissan.
Now, he stayed in 5th, but he lost a lot of time, obviously, to the cars ahead, and now he's got to worry about Mark Usher, who is still on his charge, only about 8 seconds back. I'm going back to check to see if we can find out what happened to Bob Loran. I don't know if that we'll get a replay necessarily. Yeah, it happened a long time ago, and I'm still not finding whatever caused his damage. Oh, and Krejcik, is this off in Clayton? Did he manage to avoid the wall? How did he manage that?
Yeah, he got lucky with that one, because we've seen a lot of people go off there and slam the tire barrier.
Especially how
Great
fast
the drive in there. Yeah.
Just very heads up. With how fast these Nissans go through these corners, I thought for sure he would slide all the way out. So both Emerton has come into the pits. Krejcik keeps going since he didn't hit anything. And while all that was happening, Neidhart and Lindgren have been in something of a battle for P7 in the GTOs.
They have been back here for P7, and right now they're actually being split by Ardo Iamaki getting to them, so that's actually going to break up that battle just a little bit. This was a 3-car battle involving Sergey Serbin as well, but you see him a little off the pace further back. He was right up there with him, though, and as I say that, Lindgren looked to be side by side just for a moment there with Neidhart.
Now, there goes the likes of Anderson still giving chase to Iamaki, making good use of the ground effects of that Nissan. He's there and he's gone. Just incredible pace difference between these two classes. Still, Adam Lindgren can't do anything on Neidhart. It's not Dennis that Adam is really worried about. It is Koivisto he's fighting the championship with, and Koivisto is still yet 2 more cars up in P5. So for now, the GTU championship still going to go to the number 16 as things sit.
And still no change in that watch we've been watching for the GTO championship either. Riley Thompson still holding down second. There's been a couple of looks to the inside by Arnozzi, including this one here on the front stretch, but I don't know if that's going to work.
Well, it's a brave move, but finding the grip around the outside, Thompson is going to deny him. Now, again, Arnozzi, he sticks his nose in down, and Clayton doesn't need to pass Thompson, but he's trying anyways. And we've had a problem with Youngbluth. This one coming out of the S's.
We were watching Youngbluth a while back earlier in this race, just falling back through the field, did not get a good start. Or he got a good start, and then about 10 minutes into the race, that car just went south on him and saw him spin around there.
Yeah, he stays in 4th place. And, Mark Usher now up to 5th, though he's got 18 seconds up to Youngbluth. I wouldn't put it past him for Mark to be able to gain on him and attempt to pass before all is said and done, especially if we get more mistakes from the number 9. Really, the battle that I want to stay with is for second in the GTOs, because at this point, Arnozzi is just putting immense pressure on Riley Thompson every opportunity he can. I'm not sure if he's legitimately trying to pass Nick or if he's just trying to force a mistake out of him.
It could be either or he just really badly wants to stick with him, so he knows he has that championship, and through the S's the last turn, Thompson actually had a close call with Radar Anderson, but nothing too bad. There wasn't any contact or anything between them, just a close call for Anderson to get through, and I thought Arnozzi, I saw his eyes light up and wanted to get by him, but had to think better of it because he's going to stick behind him now.
That is John Keefe. Oh, and he does get into the back of Riley Thompson into Moss Corner. Somehow they both stay on course. Let's watch the replay on this one from onboard Arnozzi.
Just a big checkup there. Don't think he expected John Keefe to go through, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he was offline, was Thompson, so he kind of had to check up. And that just caused the accordion to come together. And that was a hard hit. I think they're both okay from what it looks like. It stays Thompson in second, Arnozzi in third.
Yeah, I don't see too much damage on either of those cars. I think actually Thompson got the worst end of it. I don't see too much damage on Arnozzi's front end as I do Thompson's rear end.
Reed Miller still hanging out right behind him. We keep ignoring him in all of this. The car that we did see off about a lap ago, just for those curious, was Ken Kurtz in the Nissans. Just had his own little problem outside of Clayton, so don't need to go to that. He's back driving once again. Got, actually, that's Ken Kurtz coming up right behind them right now. He's going to catch them on the Mario Andretti straight. If he can get by all three, that'd be obviously the best for these drivers, but I'm not sure that he's going to be able to.
Arnozzi taking a look. He went to the outside, inside, now back to the outside into the S's.
There's nobody battling with Kurtz right now. Does not need to go by. As the track switches back, Thompson's going to give a little space to Milan. As they get separated by the Nissan. Still, Milan tries to carry the speed off of there. It does deny a chance for Miller, who has to stay back there in fourth. Oh no! And he gets into Arnozzi. Arnozzi into the tires. So does Miller. Championship implications. Milan gets the car going once again, but how damaged is it?
Koivisto got through, and Arnozzi's actually off right now with Jungbluth as well. Arnozzi hard into the tire barrier.
Stay with it on the replay to see that now. Oh my goodness. I could, even from outside the car, I can just imagine the frustration from the number 8. And then even more so, just gets tipped off. And that was a much harder hit. It causes him to take a tow. This could mean the championship for Riley Thompson. All he has to do now is finish.
It's gotta be so hard for Arnozzi. 4 wins this year, 5 podiums as well. Just what a breakthrough year it's been for Arnozzi. And Thompson didn't get the win yet this year, but man.
There's from onboard Jungbluth. You saw Ken Kurtz, he just started to lose the car.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, those Audis were at the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, what happened to Miller and all that? He's still going. He's in 5th. Even I'm gutted for Milan. I would have liked to see that battle go all the way to the finish. That is not a fitting end for an intense championship fight all season. And Dennis Neidhart's had some issues.
Well, down into turn 1. Neidhart on the outside of Lindgren. Lindgren hit him pretty hard, actually. They both spun there.
Yeah, he was inside. Car washed out to him, you could see, and that turned them both around. And that was Lindgren trying his best to get up to Koivisto, so it looks like Koivisto going to be even more likely our champion now. Just a little wide out of whites. That's all it took for Dennis. Unfortunately, Northwest driver Adam not able to keep the grip. Both of them get it going once again. Dennis still in 7th, Adam still in 8th.
And it looks like Arnozzi as well has just retired from the race, so He has packed it up and called it a season.
What a strange season for Riley Thompson. Now sitting in second place. You know, I'd be curious to count up. Well, you're the stats man. You always have these things. How many second places does Riley Thompson have this season? Because it looks like he's going to get another one if things stay how they are.
He has 8 podiums. He's going for 9 here. I'll get you that answer in just a moment.
And it's likely that he is going to be our champion without a single win in that GTO class this season. There's Thompson right there. As a car behind Usher having more issues. He's worked his way up to 4th. And I don't think he's going to get a podium because he's a whole 45 seconds behind John Keefe.
Thompson actually has 4 second-place finishes and 4 third-place finishes this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's the one that has earned Mr. Consistency in this season. That number 5 car. Oh, and Koivisto, who could have been looking at a podium himself, has Rob Olenek right behind him. And how did this one start? Ooh, a very late dive by Rob.
Yeah, in the S's here, they were just both pushing it hard. I saw them kind of drift out of that turn together, and Olenek got into the back of him. That was all right when Emerson was going by them.
And the good sportsmanship of this series, Olenek gave the spot back. Koivisto got back on. Did touch the tires, though. I hope he's not too damaged because already Rob is all over him as he washes out. Almost accidentally pushes Rob off course. They've got Radar Anderson, who's still in second place in the GTPs, trying to tiptoe his way by and not throw away this podium.
So Olenek's going to get by him there, and Moss and Koivisto now going to fall in line behind him. Anderson, the one going through, like you said.
Koivisto still in 4th, and Koivisto still looking at taking the GTU championship. Lindgren is still down in 8th. Only 8 more minutes of driving. These drivers have to survive. Since my first report, the DNFs have gone significantly upwards. Loran is out. Arnozzi is gone. Ken Kurtz has DNF'd. Joni Hagner's actually returned to the track. He's the last car running right now and 12th in his class. I believe Fabian Hugebluth has called it a day because he's got severe damage on his car and is sitting in the pits, tumbling down the timing and scoring chart. This is our leader, though, Artu Iamaki. It's not been without a few scares, I'm sure. It's almost impossible to do that in multi-class around here at Mosport, but Iamaki still has increased the gap, which was as low as 3 seconds before, up to 10 seconds over Radar Anderson, making sure that he comes home with yet another victory to add to his championship year. Nick Mukanos has got to be happy with this race. A little bit unexpected. Maybe would have liked to have fought for it on track, but you take what's given to you. Number 6 is well clear by 18 seconds over Riley Thompson.
Yeah, you know, we've been watching all of the other battles happen on track, and Mukanos has had just an absolutely stellar race out here. Coming out here, he doesn't even have a podium this year in the Audis, and he's going to become... He does not. And he's going to become the 4th different winner if he can hang on to this.
That kind of amazes me, because Mukanos is usually in the thick of it. The California driver, this will be a deserving win, if you ask me. I did not know that he had failed to get onto the podium all season long. I guess all the attention's been on Thompson and the likes of Hagner whenever he shows up, as well as Arnozzi. But through the S's, on board the number 6 there for a moment. He is smooth sailings thus far. Many of the battles have been broken apart since our last incident. Let's run you through the field real quick, give you an update on how everybody's been doing. We talked about Iamaki up at the top and how he's made good on this race and hasn't had nearly as much excitement as many of the others. Radar Anderson himself had to work hard through some of the excitement since he got bumped back from his second place starting position as low as, I believe, 4th before he climbed back up to P2 and is now very safe up there because behind him in 3rd, it's a whole 10 seconds back for John Keefe. But John Keefe started from 7th. He kept his nose clean. He's going to get a well-earned podium if he can just hold it together. If you go back to 4th, it is Mark Usher back there, 46 seconds back. His main problem was an incident at the very start where I'd say he was a little bit of an innocent victim with a driver making an aggressive move and tipping him off. He's since returned with good pace to take 4th place. Ryan Lang, another 15 seconds back, has not had the most impressive of pace, but slow but steady in this case has served him well to get a top 5. Your other two still running down in the GTPs is Louis Emerton, who sits in P6, and then Martin Krejcik in P7. Both of them have come in for obvious repairs, as you can see from Krejcik's cars. What about the GTOs?
Well, we were just talking about Nicholas Mukanos. He is the leader right now in the GTOs, and we were surprised he hasn't had a single podium this year, but a man of consistency, just like Riley Thompson, because this is going to be Mukanos' 7th top 5 of the year. So he's definitely been fast all year, just hasn't quite been in the spotlight as much as he might deserve, and today he's going to get that to wrap up the season. Behind him, it is Riley Thompson, your potential champion in the GTOs. He is sitting in 9th overall at 2nd place in the Audis, and another guy who has no wins this year, but looking for his 9th podium this year right now in 2nd. It's going to be his 5th second place finish out of the 12 race season. Rob Olenek is the driver behind them, the driver out of New England who started on the pole in the Audis. He's fallen back to 3rd in the GTOs, and he's being followed by Hideki Koivisto, the GTU potential champion there as well in the 16 car, and Reed Miller, who's had a great day, the Canadian coming out here. He's going to be in the top 5 as well.
The rest of your field is Sergei Serbin, who is, I think, actually possibly a lap down from our leader in class. Nope, looks like he's still on the lead lap in 6th. Then you've got Dennis Neidhart, who's had his fair share of excitement, probably more than he really wanted today in the number 7. Cost him a few positions as time went on. And Adam Lindgren, who's going to be a little bit gutted that he couldn't take the fight to Koivisto. He'll lose out for TDR. So in the GTO and GTU classes, it looks like one TDR driver will be celebrating, the other maybe celebrating for his teammate. And then Don Peak in the 9th spot in his class. From what I know of how Don drives, I think he'll be pretty satisfied with this one, managing to get a top 10 and keeping it out on track to see the checkered flag. Michael Haynes going to be your last one out there, other than Yoni Hagner, who is multiple laps down since his repairs. Haynes also going to manage a top 10 today. 2.5 minutes left to go to end season 1 here in 2019. And appropriately, it's with a beautiful sunset here in Canada. Mosport has given us yet more interesting moments, more excitement, more spills, as it always proves to do whenever we send a multi-class series to this track. And Artu Yamaki, who is going to overtake his fellow Finn, Yoni Hagner, to continue on and put another lap on him. About 2 laps to go, it looks like.
Looks like all the battling around the track has settled down. It's been a chaotic first 38 minutes of this race, and I think at this point everyone just wanting to get to the end.
And something happened to Koivisto. Have we spoken too soon? This was
turn 1.
Mark Usher trying to go through. I think there was netcode involved in this. It was hard to tell from that angle. It did look like he took a big thunk from that view. We're going to watch from above to see more clearly.
Yeah, I think that was legitimate contact there. Usher getting into the right rear of Koivisto, and hard licks there for Koivisto into that wall.
That not only sent Koivisto to the pits, but Usher as well. So Koivisto's still in there. Where is Lindgren? Lindgren's still catching him because, yeah, it took him back around.
Yeah. But I think Lindgren was a lap behind Koivisto when that happened.
And it's the final lap. Is this going to be enough for Lindgren to take the championship? How bizarre. Just when you think things have settled themselves out. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on the results once the checkered flag falls to figure that one out. This is our leader, though. Already crowned champion multiple races ago. Ardo Iamaki. Another notch on the belt for him as he climbs up the Mario Andretti straight. The Finnish driver going to show what he can do here in the Kamel Series. Chalked up many, many wins as things went on. And Ardo Iamaki coming around White's corner is going to win here today in the final round of the iRacing Kamel GT Series. Thompson, who is going to be just behind him, will finish before the winner in this race, but he is going to be your champion. Riley Thompson, a stroke of luck, hands him the win of the points without taking a win on the track. And I believe Mukanos, who's got half the race left to go, is on his victory lap. And what about Lindgren?
Lindgren did get by Koivisto.
Indeed, he's going to be ahead of our leader, Mukanos. He's coming up to the finish right now. So here is your GTU champion, potentially, unofficially. We'll get the points to you once all said and done. TDR is going to have an almighty celebration today if we're thinking things wound up like it looks like they did. Adam Lindgren finishes in 7th, and your winner just behind him in the GTO class, Nick Mukanos, taking the victory, his first victory of the season here in the Audis. That's going to take us to break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews, and on your screen, you'll see all the upcoming races here on the GSRC. Season 1 for 2019 is now over for the Kamel GT Series. And in the end, Ardo Yamaki not only took the championship, but he took yet another victory here today at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, finishing 15 seconds ahead of Radar Anderson, who I have to say I am impressed with, the number 10 car, managing to start in the front row and then finish where he started. John Keefe as well, an impressive run from 7th to 3rd. The last car on the lead lap, Ryan Lang, winds up in 4th, and then the top 5 goes to Luis Emerton. Mark Usher, with a problem late in the race, causes him to fall backwards down to 6th. And then Martin Krejcik rounds out your car still running in the GTP class, taking 7th. Nick?
8th place overall, 1st place in the GTOs. It's Nicholas Mukanos with his first win of the season, followed by the GTO champ, Riley Thompson, finishing 2nd, and Rob Olenek will round out the podium there and round out the overall top 10. They're going to be followed by 4th place, the Canadian Reed Miller here in Canada, and Sergey Serbin in the 14 car, going to round out the top 5. Dennis Neidhart and Adam Lindgren, we saw them battling quite a bit. We believe Lindgren has the GTU championship in hand as well. They're going to be followed by Don Peak, Michael Haynes, and Hideki Koivisto. And we have a couple of DNFs after that. Fabian Jungbluth, the Nissan Yoni Hagner, the Audi, another Nissan of Ken Kurtz, Milan Arnozzi, of course, with a heartbreaking finish to the season. He's going to wind up in 21st overall, and Bob Loran going to wind up 22nd in the Nissan.
What could have been uttered in racing a lot, but it's not being uttered right now for Riley Thompson. Riley, by our math, and it's unofficial, you are the champion in GTO this season.
Yeah, I wish it didn't have to end like that with slow Nissan taking out Milan. It was great to battle with him, and hopefully he'll be back next season to contest it again, because he definitely deserved that, probably more than me.
It seems like muted celebrations, and congratulations regardless. Now, what are your thoughts, though, on managing to win the points without a single win on track all season? That we're kind of amazed at your consistency.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I didn't practice much this week, so I was definitely lucky with how everything ended up. So hopefully next season we can get 1 or 2, though.
So how do you come into a race like this knowing that the championship is on the line, and Mosport is notorious for throwing up chaos and ending races very quickly? You said you didn't get a lot of practice in. What about mentally? I mean, how do you prepare yourself?
You just got to pray, basically. A track that with this size and these cars, you can really just pray and hope that you don't get into something.
Well, I guess God was listening today for you. You managed to take a podium, I believe the 8th podium, according to Nick, and the championship. Congratulations. Go celebrate with your teammate, because we'll get to him in a moment. Both of you, we believe, have won the Audi championships.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
That was Riley Thompson, 2nd place today, and your champion. Up next, we do actually have the next person we were talking about. Nick is going to be talking to Adam Lindgren, who is your GTU champion.
We do have Adam Lindgren here in the booth with us, and man, what a race that was for you, and what a race for the whole team. What a season.
Yeah, that was, honestly, this season was very up and down for both Riley and I, with Riley getting knocked out at Bathurst and me struggling these last 3 rounds. But, man, the battles with Dennis, these last 2 rounds, Dennis Neidhart, like, I gotta give that guy props. He races clean and hard, and that was some of the most fun I've had in the Audi. But, yeah, I mean, with Hideki getting punted by a slow Nissan as well, like, both Riley and I got handed wins by Nissan's passing. So, it's not how we would like to take championships, but, of course, we'll take them.
Yeah, we do have you projected there as the GTU championship, so congratulations to you and the whole team, TDR, with that, because like I said, what a day it was for the whole team. What was going through your head there? We saw you have the early race incident that set you back. Did you think you were still in it there at the end with Hideki running into his own problem?
Well, when Ardo took my line going into 1 on that lap that sent me into the grass, I knew that I had to make up 2 positions in order to clinch the championship. So I was just focused on that. And then after getting into Dennis going going through those first couple corners, I just my heart sank. I knew that unless Hideki had a problem, I was out of it. So I was just trying to keep out of everyone's way at that point.
So what was the initial reaction when you looked down at the relative black box and you saw Hideki falling back on the last lap?
What? I was like, okay, never mind. No more slowing down. I gotta go, because if he for some reason, like, can jump out of the pits with only optionals, I was going to be in trouble. So I was like, I put my pedal to the metal at that point.
It was fitting. It was a dramatic end to a dramatic season. But congratulations to you and everyone at TDR. Anyone you want to give a thank you or a shout out to before we let you go for the winter season?
Yeah, I'd love to give a shout out to Tommy Verchidi, who's doing a triple stint right now in the Sebring 12-hour to make sure that I have time to do this race. He's a trooper, and also all of our teammates at TDR, and especially Riley for doing this whole season with me.
All right. Well, congratulations on the race, and hey, good luck at Sebring.
Thank you.
That was Adam Lindgren, who finished in 7th in class, and with it, took the championship in the GTUs. Up next, we've got 2nd place on track here in the GTPs, Radar Anderson. First question we have for you, besides offering a congratulations, Mr. Anderson, are we saying your first name right?
Yes, you do. And thank you.
All right. Excellent. Wow, a 2nd place. I don't think we've seen you up to such dizzying heights before, if not for a long time. Did you expect those sort of results today?
No, I didn't. I think 3rd is the best I've got before. I think I got a bit lucky with the traffic and stuff today, but I like this track very much, so that helps, I think.
For a while, we saw that it looked like you were almost catching up to Ardo Iamaki. Does that actually help your pace when you see you gaining on a fast driver like Ardo, or are you a better chaser or are you a better leader?
Definitely a better chaser, so that helped. I think I got slowed down by the traffic. Maybe he took it a bit easy. I tried to be conservative too, because as you saw, a lot of things happened. But all in all, it went very well.
And speaking of the traffic, do you have any special tricks or methods that you go about avoiding it around Mosport? Because this to me is possibly only topped by the likes of places like Lime Rock Park in terms of trying to deal with the headache that is the slower class.
Yeah, absolutely. I did a race yesterday, so I got a bit practice in then. And I did a few laps in the Audi today, actually, just to see how it goes. So I don't know if that helps, but you have to anticipate. I don't know. It worked well today.
It certainly did. Allowed you to start and finish in 2nd place. Congratulations. We hope to see more good results like that from you.
Thank you.
Finally, last driver we were going to talk to was just behind him on track, John Keefe. Nick is going to be talking to a driver who moves up not only to 3rd on the track, but 3rd in the championship.
Yes, we have John Keefe here, and I believe once we have some audio issues resolved, great race for Mr. Keefe here today, finishing 3rd, like you said, and finishing 3rd in the points as well. The driver out of Indiana here at Mosport today. We saw you make some amazing passes to get you to your position. I think we're having a couple of audio issues here with John's microphone, but we'll get that figured out in just a moment.
Mute button seems to have gotten stuck on poor John's microphone. We'll see if we can.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, that was my fault. I'm sorry. Okay, yes, 3 wide with Martin and Fabian was very fun and very interesting. But never mind my moves. Did you see Emerton put that move on me when we came up on Riley and Arnozzi?
We did indeed. That was pretty insane.
Amazing.
The teamwork through there was pretty incredible. Did you guys have that planned out at all, or was it all last second?
You can plan things for these races, but it's so chaotic that it goes out the window as soon as the green drops. But no, Lewis is an amazing competitor. It took me by surprise how he did it, but it was I have to go see it, but it was a pretty amazing move. I'm sure.
Yeah, it was incredible from our vantage point, as well as yours, I'm sure. In your mirror 1 second and out your windshield the next.
Yeah.
It was just an absolutely amazing move. So you had a pretty good season, though, finishing third here today and third in the standings as well. So congratulations there. It's also keeping with the archetype of the number 3. You're going to finish. This is your third podium.
Yeah, actually being third in the championship is news to me, so that's pretty cool. I do need to apologize to Joni Hagner. I think we had a netcode issue in turn 1 at some point. I saw a PN from him after the race, and I just wanted to apologize. I didn't even know anything happened there. So whatever happened with Yoni and myself, I just wanted to apologize to him publicly. I think he was leading at the time too, so that makes it even worse.
Yeah, we saw lots of close, hard racing. Everyone fighting for a championship today, and at a track like Mosport, a lot of times things just happen like that. But before we let you go for the season, anyone you want to give a thank you or a shout out to?
Just everyone in the Kamel community, you guys for doing such a great job broadcasting these things, especially keeping up with the chaos that we are. So yeah, iRacing, just great service. Days like today are pretty amazing. They feel not like a game. They feel like you've actually accomplished something. So yeah, that's about it. Great season. Looking forward to the next and the majors tomorrow night and these cars.
It'll be a good one for sure to see that at Sebring. So congratulations once again, and we will see you then.
Thanks.
That was third place today, John Keefe, who ran an excellent race. I'm kind of curious if the YouTube chat is exploding in a sim versus game debate right now as far as iRacing goes. We'll get back to that later. We want to thank a few people. Of course, a big thank you to Inspector Ride for sponsoring this. If you want to check out that free trial, all you got to do is go to inspectorride.com/iRacing. And of course, once again, thank you to iRacing themselves for putting us on IESN this season. If you can, make sure and subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network by clicking the big red button on their YouTube page. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. And additional thanks go to Eric Ekholm and June Lalonde to provide our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Steph, Amjed, and Dougie. Nick, Amjed, and Dougie. I need to update my script more diligently. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Head on over to our YouTube page. We've also got a big red subscribe button that if you hit, you won't miss a moment here on the GSRC. The next race, when we come back next season, we'll start off with Road America. That'll be Saturday, March 16th at noon Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.